Yeah.
The last one, but not least, the law of exposure. We need
Mhm.
to communicate our boundaries to each other.
Yeah. Again, I don't know what your boundary is unless you've communicated that some way. You don't know what mine is
Yeah.
unless I've communicated it. So boundaries don't set themselves.
Are boundaries learned or materialized by happenstance?
I think they're learned. So, for example, when your kids are little and you teach them, if my door is closed, you knock.
Hmm.
Okay.
Or
There
you
are,
may be in for a big surprise.
that's a natural consequences, reaping and sowing, cause and effect. Remember, boundaries keep us safe, right? Listen, that's why I don't go over my daughter's house without calling first. No, sir. Boundaries keep us safe, right?
Yes, yes. Who
Cause
wants to
and
see
effect.
that?
Exactly. However,
Yeah.
that was a boundary that my parents taught me. I'm assuming that that was a boundary that you were taught
Yes,
because
yes,
we're relating to that. You'll
yes.
be surprised of how many people that wasn't taught to them. So somewhere along the line, they had an experience that taught them that.
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes boundaries are taught. Sometimes they're taught we learn them the hard way because there's been a hard consequence. Yeah.
In setting boundaries, can people kind of go overboard and set them too rigid?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
if so, how does
Yeah.
one recognize
Right.
I may need to calm this one down?
Right. So I like to describe healthy boundaries because
Okay.
there is such thing as a too rigid boundary and a too porous boundary. I like to describe healthy boundaries as a fence. So let's say you buy a house, nowadays they don't give you a fence when you buy a house, that's extra.
Yeah.
So you want to put up a fence and you're like, "Well, I can't really afford that fence." So you decide not to put up a fence. The coyote's gonna get in your yard, the deer, everything's gonna get in your yard. If you have a dog, he is not gonna be confined. He's gonna be in other people's yard. That is a lack of a boundary at all.
Okay.
Okay. So you decide you're gonna put up a fence. You put up a fence, but you're like, I don't want anything getting in my yard. So you put up a cement fence. Okay. Nothing is going to get in your yard, but let's say you had a fire in your house and you had to go out the backyard, you're not going to be able to get out the backyard either. So that's an example of a boundary that's too rigid. So a boundary that's too rigid, yeah, you feel safe back here in your fortress, but the help, the support you need, you can't get. So a healthy boundary is a chain link fence with a gate. So you have a fence, you feel protected, you can open the gate when you need to allow something in, you can also close the gate when you
Sounds
don't
like you're
want something in.
describing cause and effect when you were talking about those boundaries and laws.
Yeah. You see how they work together?
I do see that.
Yeah.